Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Stand Up for Geeks. Filmed in beautiful downtown Gresham before a live studio audience. Hi, I'm your host, Tristan Spillman. Welcome to Stand Up for Geeks. We're a little bit of a comedy show. You know how you always kind of wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but, you know, the driving and, like, the lifestyle, my liver, right? You don't have to deal with that. You could just hang out with us for a while. We're going to do some comedy, and then we're going to chat. And then you can tell your friends, I hang out with stand-up comedians on a weekly basis. Today we're talking about heroes, superheroes, anti-heroes, godlike heroes, any type of heroes that you can think of. Whenever I think of hero, I always think of my personal hero. He's a cool old dude. This was a for real biker, right? He was like the Viking god of bikers. He had like a long beard, all braided. Yeah, I don't need to describe him. Just the mental picture that went into your head when I said the Viking god of biking. Yeah, that's what he looks like. All right. You do have to know one thing about the vehicle, though. It had giant monkey handlebars. You know what they call them? Monkey bars, they call them. So he's like way up high. So he was like leaning back while he was riding and going down the hill. You know, not at full clip, not as slow as you could possibly go down a hill, but he was just cruising down. Not slow enough, though. You'll find out as the story goes on. So he comes down the hill, and there's the incident is about ready to occur. There's just one driver who initiates the incident, not really the villain of the story, but he is the catalyst of the story starting, because our biker, he's in the left-hand lane. He's heading down the hill, 2-lane road. In the left-hand lane, one of the drivers goes to make a left turn into the bagel store. There's no turn lane, so they just have to stop. So that lane shut off, right? Biker's coming down the hill, just makes a lovely, gentle, leaning turn from the left to the right lane. So smooth and balletic that could actually maybe be the story in itself. But no, the story's just starting, right? From 23rd, further up on the hill, but not all the way at the peak, here comes a turning to the right, the villain of our story. Right? He turns right at the exact simultaneous time as the biker changes from the left lane to the right lane. Now occupying the same physical space. Danger, right? This biker is Trig, though. His face doesn't change. A muscle, not an expression goes across his face as he just slowly pulls the bike into a full screeching stop, skids the bike sideways now, and he just placid as an Indian cow, just staring at the car as it comes towards him. This is where the real drama happens, though. The driver of the vehicle looks up into the rearview mirror and sees behind him the biker, and in panicking, in error, he does the worst possible thing that you could in this scenario. He freaks out and slams both feet on the brakes. You can see the car start to rear forward. It's stopping so fast. The biker is so close to the car in front of him, he is bathed in the red brake lights. Danger all around him. Stopping is no longer an option available to the Viking god of bikers. You hear for the first time the engine roar to life with full speed. It leaps up to 2 wheels and is now traveling right alongside the evil vehicle, right parallel with the villain, traveling in a third hypothetical lane that bike messengers dare not travel. The reason why I told you about the monkey bars being way up high was because if they were not up that high, he would not have been able to physically fit between the vehicles. His legs scraped up against the car as he drove past. There I was at the bus stop. I got to witness this all in perfect parallel right beside me. And the best part was in the middle of it, the biker kind of looked over just for a split second. That's awesome, right? I had to see this, and now it's they're going past me. The story's going on. Like, the story's almost over, but there's no morality check there. What is the takeaway from this story? It was amazing. It was beautiful. This all took place in maybe 30, 45 seconds altogether. It all wraps up perfect. The bagel enthusiast makes a left turn into the bagel shop. They're happy, I'm assuming. The evil vehicle, the villain of our story, moves over to the left lane to provide room for the biker to come over to the right lane and properly drive down the road. Now here's what it's going to be. The biker's got complete freedom now. What will retribution be? What's his reaction? You see him slowly take his left hand off of the monkey bar. I thought perhaps to reach back down to his saddlebag and like hurl a lightning bolt at them or something like that, but no. He just reaches his hand off of the handlebar and looks over at him. Thumbs down to you. Boo to you, sir, for almost killing me. How awesome is that? All right, well, that's who my hero is. Let's hear about some other people's heroes. Our first panelist this evening, a very funny man, been on here. I think this is your third time now. He's a regular. He's officially a regular now. Big round of applause for Daniel Daggeris, ladies and gentlemen.
Does Superman wear underwear under his tights? And if his laundry day, does he just switch them? If he can't, I don't know. I think that the people in charge of our society don't actually want real heroes around. I think if a supervillain showed up tomorrow and was like, I'm going to destroy everything unless you give me everything, they'd be like, okay, we get it. Please hold. So you think you can stop him? The hero is just like, I will stop him and I will bring justice raining down on everything, every injustice in the world. I'm going to end it. Nothing is too small. And they're like, okay, you're going to like dismantle all of our systems? Like this is, he's just like, are your systems corrupt? Please hold. So villain, half? All right. But I mean, I feel like heroes really need villains to exist. Like Batman without villains is just a peeping Tom. And like Captain Planet, if the whole world was America, would just be like that kid in high school who had way too much school spirit. What? All right, he is that. But you get the point. Yeah. Women can be heroes too, and I mean specifically the word heroes, not heroines. Like, who the fuck thought that was a good move? They're like, this is one of the worst drugs in the world. We're gonna name it after the greatest women ever. Like if we're gonna get rid of gendered words, that's the first to go. And I think the next one should be hostess, because like it's just Twinkies and ding dongs and zebra cakes now. And there's one that's like it's bugged me personally, and that's I don't like the word actress. So we've already handled hard drugs and junk food. So I think it should be like actress should be a nasty dog bite. Just be like, this dog, it just got me yesterday. Put an actress right on my leg and just, I might be infected. I hope I don't get rabies from this actress. I would do the job. There's a couple of national heroes we have that were also womanizers. That would be JFK, Benjamin Franklin, and mostly I want to focus on the womanizer part because it's a funny word. You don't hear it anymore, and now it just sounds like a ray gun that makes gender transitions way easier. Last thing, so growing up, I loved Captain Planet. I watched it a lot when it was on. Is he a demon, though? Because like a group of high school students with elemental rings summon him. It's like earth, air, fire, water, heart. Is it a real human heart? If you don't know of him, just think like Superman, but if he was way more into plants than people. I don't know. We need him now, though, because seriously, if he could actually bring pollution down to zero, it'd be great, but I think a lot of people would probably freeze to death. Thanks.
Keep it going for Daniel Daggeris, ladies and gentlemen. He brought up Superman. I'm actually a big fan of Superman. Me and Superman actually have a lot in common. Like Superman, my parents actually found me one day. They just found me in a cornfield just lying there. It was last Thursday. I'd been drinking, so it's good that they brought me in. And I did have my underwear on the outside of my pants. So really, a lot like Superman. All right, let's bring up the next comedian. First time she's ever been here. Big round of applause for Chelsea Burns, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, my name is Chelsea. When I was growing up, my hero was Daria Morgendorffer. Is that weird that I still look up to a 16-year-old? I accepted Daria into my heart when I was 12 years old and I had a babysitting job. She taught me how to play a game called Cemetery, which is where you tell the kids to lie on the floor and pretend that they're dead. The first person to move or make a sound loses. I thought it was brilliant too, but that was the first job I ever got fired from. I've had a lot of weird jobs. I used to work for a woman who had a dog that had her own bedroom. I was working as a personal assistant to the dog. She was a tiny white Maltipoo named Sunshine. Sunshine had a queen-sized bed all to herself with 10 pillows. I was so broke that I started making a list of everything the dog had that I wanted to have by the time I was 30. It's like a bucket list, but sadder. It was stuff like nice clothing, insurance, a microchip. I get lost easily. The bedroom walls were decorated with framed pictures of the dog, and the bookshelf was full of books about dog training. As if Sunshine was interested in personal growth and development. She's on the bed wearing a monocle saying, "I'm a good girl, but can I be a gooder girl?" The woman used to have a boyfriend that the dog didn't like. The first time she brought him home, Sunshine wouldn't stop barking at him, so she dumped him. This is weirder. After they broke up, the woman told me she was dating God, which made me wonder what happens if Sunshine ever starts barking at God. So I did a Google search for help. My dog isn't a Christian. I was surprised to learn that there are multiple articles on that topic. I think Jesus would say, "No, don't make me a part of this. Find a different hero." One more thing about the dog. She wouldn't eat unless the woman pretended to eat the dog food first to show her. Yeah, she had to show her how delicious it was. This was so sad. She would grab a spoon and get on the floor and say, "This is so good." And then the dog would have this aha moment like, "Oh, I didn't know that was food." I think the woman was setting a bad example because dogs can't use spoons. When I tried to do it, I had low energy, like, not me. And the woman said, "Sunshine knows you don't mean it." At that moment, I thought, what would Daria do? And I heard her voice say, "Find a different job that pays $10 an hour." Thank you.
Keep it going for Chelsea Burns, ladies and gentlemen. Next comedian coming to the stage, very funny man, been here before, glad to have him back. Big round of applause for Isaac Pendergrass, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it going for Isaac.
I ruined my childhood this morning. I watched an episode of the 78 series, The Incredible Hulk. And you want to know who the real heroes are? Today's special effects crews. Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, I knew the Hulk wasn't real, but in this particular episode, the Hulk was fighting a bear in a river. The bear was losing. However, the river was winning. All of the paint had pretty much washed off of the Hulk's face. You could see the Caucasian around the edges of his gear, and if you look closely through his wet shirt, you could read Lou Ferrigno's name on his driver's license. Totally ruined it for me. But you know who probably hates the special effects department? The regular effects department. Those guys are responsible for most of the effects in the movie, but they never get any of the fanfare. I feel for them. But everybody wants to be a hero, and nobody wants to be a villain. And villains usually have a little extra something, a little edge on us. They're usually smarter, faster, better looking, president, chief of staff, vice president. But nobody wants to be the villain. But I was fortunate when I was young to have two very loving villains in my life. My parents. And villains usually force you to do things that you don't want to do, like kill people or go to church. And so I had my parents, and now they were villains in the sense that within that context, I had to defy everything that they stood for in order to be good. And I was very good. Okay, I did my job. And what most people don't know is that if you can keep the resistance up for 18 years, the villains just give up. I don't know if they get tired or they quit, but they will release you from your confines, and they will actually pay for you to go live with other heroes who have just been recently liberated as well. It was a very good experience. And then the next thing that happens is you meet a heroine, a beautiful heroine, and you fall in love. You fall in love. And you want so badly to be her hero, but she's stronger than you, and she doesn't have you don't have anything that she needs. But her low self-esteem keeps you in the picture. And eventually you guys decide to join your powers together and start the process of heroic replication. Right? Which turns out to be a lot more fun for you than it is for her. But remember, low self-esteem, okay? That's what we're dealing with. And so you bring two little heroes into the world, and for a few years, everything is perfect. It's a fantasy. But then you start to get this little inclination that your little heroes don't see you as, they see you as something other than heroic. And you're not sure, because fuck off dad could have a totally different meaning these days, You're just not sure. And your lovely heroine, she only ever degrades you directly in their presence. So you don't know where this is coming from. But then you I don't know, you may take up stand-up comedy to get your mind off of it. Something. But then you think about it, and you realize that it's not their fault. And you think back to the villains that released you, and you realize that they were only your villains because they thought that you could be a hero. But you're not. You're not. And you have these two people, these two little heroes, two little people that you want to be heroes, and you just don't know if you have the power to save them. So you grab your wife, you grab your kids, and you take them to church, because you hear that Jesus is saving everybody around here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Keep it going for Isaac Pendergrass, ladies and gentlemen. All right, our final panelist this evening, a very funny man. Keep it going for Mark Sulfite, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for coming back.
All right. I've been thinking about philosophy a lot lately, because we're geeks, right? Like that classic existentialist sees the day, like live each day as if you're going to die tomorrow, right? You guys know that? I think that's stupid. Because if I was going to die tomorrow, I'd spend all my money, get wasted all day, and tell everybody to fuck off. Right? Wouldn't you? Well, they got a name for this lifestyle. It's called homeless. And it doesn't look that fun. So I've been looking at some alternatives, in particular Taoism, the old Chinese philosophy. It's awesome. It's like the chill religion. There's no rules. There's no money involved. You just kind of read cool old gnomic books, and I'm into it. I've actually become a Taoist missionary, which means I stay home and mind my own goddamn business. It's working out great. Yeah, I'm good at that. And so my hero that I want to talk about is another Taoist, an old lady from Portland who lived in my neighborhood. Some of you know the author Ursula Le Guin. And she never made a big deal about being a Taoist, but like the other science fiction great Philip K. Dick, they both wrote a lot of novels influenced by their philosophy. So you should go back and read, like the Lay the Heaven title actually comes from an old edition of the Tao Te Ching. So anyway, I have this blog called Taoish.org, and I thought it would be awesome to interview. I mean, we're literally both in Northwest Portland. For decades, we've been living in the same neighborhood. So I find her address. We've got some mutual friends, and I sent her a letter, formally requesting an interview. I know she's very busy and all. And she sends me an email back, and she basically says, she declines the interview. She says, I'm sorry, I wish I were a Taoist wizard who could ride off on the wind and, give epiphanies to everybody, but I'm just an old lady who writes books. All right? But I think if there was a deep Taoist truth to be found, it would be found in between the words. And I'm like, fuck, that's exactly what a Taoist wizard would say. That is, if you get into it, that is. And then she goes on and say, and now I have to ask you to forget you've even seen this email because I get hassled by so many people you can't imagine. Thank you very much and good luck with you. And so Ursula Le Guin was my hero because in a society where everybody, and in particular women, are taught to have to please people and do everything, she was very respectful. She figured out exactly what I wanted, which was just a little tiny bit of her attention and a little tiny bit of wisdom. And then she told me to fuck off. And that's what makes her my hero. Thanks.
Keep it going from Mark Sulfite. Learning things, having fun. Yes. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're here at Stand Up for Geeks. Today's topic is heroes. Glad you guys could stick around. We're here with Isaac, Mark, Daniel, Chelsea. So my first question I want to ask you guys, what is a hero to you?
Well, I've got a quality.
Okay.
I think that, to me, the quality of a hero is someone who overachieves in the clutch.
Right.
So, what I don't like about superheroes is you just give them,
infinite power.
That's not fair. A hero is somebody nobody expects anything of, who, being topical, the kids in the high school in Florida who just got shot up, and suddenly they stand up in front of national TV cameras, and they're eloquent, and they make a compelling case, and then they roast the president on Twitter. And those are heroes because they're just like 17-year-old, frankly, they're speech and debate nerds.
They achieve more than what we expect.
This is the moment all of us speech and debate nerds have been waiting for decades, where our power of eloquence actually comes through.
Right.
But, or if you're a football fan, Nick Foles in the Super Bowl.
Sure.
He sucks. He barely made the team as a backup.
Right.
And Carson Wentz gets injured, and he comes in and has one of the best games in football history. It's the fact that nobody expected it, and that he's not actually that good, that makes him a hero.
Yeah, exactly. On SportsCenter, they were talking about hey, did you ever notice that all the magnificent running to catch the ball and jumping and diving and barely catching it at the last second is all by really old, slow white guys?
Yeah.
They're like, it's not dramatic. They just barely made it in time. But that's what makes a heroic catch at the last second. When a guy hustles in, gets right up underneath it, catches it, no problem.
Right. I mean, Michael Jordan's the best basketball player ever, but with a couple exceptions, he wasn't the hero because, of course, he's the best basketball player ever. He's supposed to win.
His most heroic story of all time, I think, is when he had the flu. You remember that one? He has the flu. Everybody's like, is he even going to be able to put on his shoes today?
Right.
And then he shows up and it's just 58, It's just what?
So he's literally like Superman. He had his kryptonite that one time, and that's why it was awesome.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And he just drank a bunch of Gatorade.
Right. And then we knew he was Superman, and then he wasn't a hero anymore.
Right,
he's just a stud.
Exactly.
When someone isn't expected to do anything, doesn't that lower the bar a little bit? It lowers the pressure. It gives them a chance to actually, usually they do better than what you expect, and then we call them a hero.
Unless they just suck, then they're just a loser. A loser.
Now the football player, that's a different example. He had a great game. I heard. I didn't watch it, but in most cases, you lower the bar so far.
Yeah.
Someone steps over, and then we call him a hero.
But in this case, he
sometimes it is a
outplayed
little
Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
No, he's an
and
exception.
caught a touchdown pass.
Right.
And you could have bet $1 billion to 1 against that happening before the game. You could have gotten such good odds.
Well, and he's got, like the bars lowered as far as his individual, as compared to all the other quarterbacks out there in the world. But the expectation of you got to win the Super Bowl versus Tom Brady, that's pushing the bar,
doesn't
pretty
get any higher.
Pretty high,
Yeah.
Good point.
So, Chelsea, somebody other than a football star, who do you have that's a hero?
Well, first off,
Although it could be a football star. I don't mean to pipigeonhole you. I'm just instinctively guessing that it might be.
well, I would definitely say myself because you mentioned
Humility is a great quality.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very humble. Well, you were talking about Michael Jordan tying his shoes, and I know how to tie my shoes.
Nice.
Thank you.
You don't have any laces, do you?
Well, I have a zipper.
It was a heroic decision.
That's it. You got it.
Yeah.
She's ready to solve the other world's
Right around
problems.
it.
Yeah.
Well,
George's not famous for tying his shoes.
I was trying not to brag. I would say Hello Kitty is my hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very cute, and she has that self-sacrificing quality about her. She sacrifices her face and her cuteness to make everybody happy.
Right. She sacrifices the fate of having a giant, unnaturally large head just to be extra. What's the Japanese term for cute? Kawaii. Kawaii.
Yeah.
She's like super, giant head. Just to, her neck's gonna break and fall off her head.
Are you saying that Hello Kitty took a vow of silence and that's why her mouth is gone?
That is why her mouth is gone.
That's a pretty
She has no mouth.
Yeah, she has no mouth.
Yeah.
That's what makes her so empathetic. You can relate to her because she has no mouth.
Maybe
feels-
maybe that's like the ultimate sign of misogyny in our society, though. That this epitome of cuteness
Perfect,
is
adorable.
silent.
Hello Kitty was female, though.
I think so.
I think the bow in her hair.
They made it really bad because they actually came out and said that it was a
Pac-Man
girl.
rules. Bow in your hair. Equals you're a woman.
No, they
Why
said that it was
did Hello Kitty take a vow of silence?
Well,
Field on this.
I would say she does have a Hello Kitty. There is a Hello Kitty maternity hospital in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, it's all decorated in Hello Kitty. The nurses wear Hello Kitty on their aprons. They're pink. And I don't want to have any babies. But I
Because
would.
that's not for the baby. The baby's born and
Doesn't
pure
know
id.
the
Has no
difference.
idea. That's for the moms or the other kids in the family. The best case scenario.
It's for
weird.
everybody. It's for society. They did a scientific study. Children born in that hospital are less likely to commit crimes.
Wow. I love when statistics you can just push and pull them and make them do basically anything.
How much does it cost to have a kid in that hospital?
Yeah, there you
Oh, yeah. That might be less
Societal.
likely a societal reason why they're not committing crimes because they're all rich parents. Yeah, that might. I think Isaac may have figured it out. Cracked that Rubik's
Really,
Cube.
you're a parent, right?
I do.
Well, can you put a price on your child's life?
Oh, you said I thought you said, do I have parents?
No, he wasn't born out of an egg from a machine. Yes, he has parents. No, but you are a parent.
I am a parent. That is right. Can I put a price on my child's life? No, I can't.
I'm a parent. I can put a price on my child's delivery, though. They were both from Kaiser, and it was $5 each, and it was awesome.
Before you guys move on from the parents thing,
Yeah.
do you three that are parents think that your children have seen you as a hero? What would you give to have them see you as a hero? When did you lose it?
Eight?
Yeah, right about 8 is when it ended.
Yeah.
My daughters are 17 and 20, so I'm clearly nowhere near. I'm not even an anti-hero.
it lives
I'm
around
just a
later?
schlub.
Right, you're just a
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, it depends on the kid. My first kid lost it at around 8, 9.
Yeah.
And because my second kid was around 4 at the time. 4?
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh man,
Yeah.
which is like your daughter was just like this guy, and you
But
blew your son's mind.
it's in and out. It's in and out. You're a hero one day and not the next. So.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, it is a little, in the beginning it's almost kind of daunting to where you're just
Yeah.
any little thing that you do, you're all like, I'll turn on the TV for you, and they're like, whoa, look, you're an electrical
It's the
engineer.
best. I'm not gonna lie, that's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't do anything, but this is
But
pretty
again,
awesome.
they get over it.
Right, yeah. So cherish it while you have it. I
Yeah,
always
yeah.
say sometimes people get annoyed by it, but it's just it was the one and only lesson I got from the movie Hook. When she was like, hey, your kids, they're chasing after, trying to get your attention. that's going to stop.
Right. So
Eventually,
give it
there's going to come to a turn where you're going to have to chase their attention.
Right.
So take advantage of it while you have it. So that was like the one piece of advice I got from parenting from movies that I was like, okay, I'm going to apply that. You know?
I see people with lots of kids who are spaced a few years apart. I think they're chasing the dragon.
Right. Hero worship back again. They're like, oh, they thought I was great.
No, you got to let go.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, cool. So, is there a particular fictional character that you guys have that you're like, that to me is a hero?
Well, I did some research on superheroes, which I really know very little, and I found one, Zatanna.
Oh.
Do you guys know? This is an obscure DC Comics.
You're talking about the female magician?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who obviously has a darkness about her, but is also, incredibly good looking. Cast spells by speaking in palindromes.
I know that would appeal to you, my friend.
That leapt out at me.
Right.
And is just kind of ridiculously sexy for no reason. So it's pretty much me.
Yeah. Yeah, you have like a tuxedo leotard.
Yeah, exactly. And the fishnets,
Does that limit her spell abilities? Does it have to be only palindrome related? Or is it just...
Well, there are a couple examples where people attacked her, like hit her in the throat while she was trying to say her spells, and she couldn't complete the spell, and that's her Achilles heel.
And she has to actually be able to speak.
Actually say them out. She can't just think them.
Right.
Right. Or I don't know if she could do a voice synthesizer. That would work. Probably not. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a lot of questions that get evolved from that. Like, can she pre-record her voice and then be near it? Well, I don't know.
Call her answering machine, and it just says the spell.
The spell, and it just like casts somebody in the house while they're at the
She tricks somebody into calling the number, and it banishes whoever it is to hell. And they listen to the spell on the phone. Zatanna can't come to the phone right now. Boom!
Well, I wish they had you around as like for editing, because like the person who wrote it obviously was a fan of palindromes when it first came out. They had some beautiful long palindromes.
I got to do some research.
Which she would bust out with, and then unfortunately, as the series went on, you could tell that like they were not like the huge fans of palindromes. Yeah, exactly. They're like, nuns run, and then like a whole bunch of it was just like, oh, you're kind of phoning it in here.
Right. But they lost interest.
I think Ron Weasley is probably an awesome hero, because like Harry Potter gets everything.
Right.
Like, he could even be the anti-hero if he knew somehow that was all coming, and he's like, yeah, I'll die once. I get to be amazing forever.
Right.
And, but like Ron had to just be the shitty sidekick the whole time.
Right.
And just kind of get kicked, and just constantly like his buddy's getting all the attention.
He's the wingman.
Yeah, and then like all of his brothers were already amazing, so like just nothing goes well for him.
Right.
And then at the end, it's like even... Well, no, I shouldn't keep spoiling. But
I think you can spoil Harry Potter, I guess. Well, in all of Harry's sacrifices that he makes into the magic world happen before the story even starts. Basically, he sacrifices his parents, he sacrifices his childhood. He's got the scar.
But that's at the start,
look at Ron. Look at what Ron suffers throughout the context of the story. He like loses love, gains her back. He loses one of his brothers. Another brother is turned into a werewolf. His father is mauled by a snake. The Weasley family is the one who like loses things during the story.
I wonder if he's like represents the ego that Harry never gets to have, because the whole thing is like Harry constantly has to like push down his ego because he's constantly being checked by the world.
Right.
Everybody thinks that he's too big of an ego, so he doesn't even like get to experience ego all the way through. And so seeing Ron fight that constantly, just like, I want the attention. Like, I wonder if that's where that tension gets to come out. Like it's like sublimated into Ron,
or his human side
through the story itself. Yeah.
Well, because there's always the unlikely hero, who gets like chosen and has the classic Joseph Campbell story arc, and then there's actual heroes who have like the amazing abilities, but have like the real classic character flaw. So I think it's like Harry Potter is playing the role of like the unlikely hero, which kind of actually straddles a little bit unlike of the anti-hero, like you're saying towards his end, because he is kind of fighting society. And I think Ron gets to be like the hero.
I don't know. It seems to me that Ron wouldn't be. I mean, if they wanted Ron to be the hero, they wouldn't have named him Weasley.
Well, it's almost something that he has to like
overcome one more thing. Yeah.
Well, there's the song "Weasley is our king," so he got his moment.
Well, yeah, and on a hero's journey, you have to have like peaks and valleys.
The Weasley is our king actually becomes like, all right, we like you now.
Yeah.
Like, not just like
originally Weasley is your king. It was a mock.
Right.
I don't know Harry Potter. I was too old when it came out, I guess, and then my kids haven't really.
Your kids were too young,
right?
Yeah. So I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Easy. So there's a boy. he has a scar on his forehead.
Oh, no.
No, this is great.
All right.
Okay, he has a scar on his forehead. He has superpowers, and then everybody loves him, and everybody's happy.
So now you don't even really
That
need to
sounds
rate
like
the
a pretty
series.
dull story. No conflict or drama at all.
conflict,
huh?
really.
That's weird.
It's like 7 books about just getting the scar removed, and it won't
Yeah.
go.
Perfect. I can tell my kids about it tonight.
I always used to be like an advocate of like, oh, it's never too late. If it's a good, you know, series or story or whatever, you can go back in. And
Right.
then I had a friend like about a year ago who was like, you know, I haven't watched that Walking Dead series. Is that any good? And I'm just like, you know, it's too late for you.
Move on.
Move on.
Yeah.
You haven't started.
You just if you haven't started, this is the first time I've ever like been like, no, don't
Wow.
go down the path. Like,
I still think Breaking Bad would work.
yeah,
For a beginner.
yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
but Breaking Bad is like we were talking about anti-hero. That's a quintessential
Ultimate, yeah.
anti-hero.
Really? I thought he was a villain. Walter White?
Well, from the beginning, you thought that?
He was. He did.
No, at the end.
He did ultimately become
He
a
was the
villain,
hero
but he
at
was
the
never a
beginning.
villain until the very last episode. I was talking with Isaac about that, about how a villain, what makes them a villain is they don't have they're not doing it for any moral code.
They own it.
They own it. Like they're doing it for their own selfish purposes.
Yeah.
So like in the beginning, he had this guise of I'm doing this to support my family because I have cancer and I have this obstacle that I need to overcome. And then at the very last episode, he looks at his wife Skylar and like fully admits the full transformation
I
from
loved
being a
it.
schlub
Yeah.
to being like an actual villain because he looks at her
Right.
and says, "It was for me."
But
I
he
did it
was the
all
most-
for me,
in the
and that's when he
first
truly
episode-
became a villain. So you're right, he's
Yeah.
a villain, but it's
he became-
only
he
he
became
only
powerful.
lands there at the very end.
Yeah.
The whole story is about him moving from being a gilded suburban dad into a real man.
Yeah.
Is the whole thing. I mean, that's the power of the whole drama.
Well, Gilligan, the author or whatever, said that it's weird that his name is Gilligan. I just want to say
Gilligan
Gillian
never
or
became
whatever.
strong.
But no, his name is really Gilligan, and I'm forced to
Right,
admit
right.
that.
Vince
That's his real name,
Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan. He said that he wanted to go from Mr. Magoo to Scarface. He wanted to go from a complete schlub to like the most
Right.
badass and have you follow. That's why I think of him as kind of like one of the most quintessential anti-heroes
Yeah.
because you actually see the full
Yeah.
journey from
Is
being
the
the
fact
victim
that-
to being the villain.
The fact that he's an anti-hero, like, is part of being an anti-hero that you're always walking that line. And this is the rare occasion you see, like, you want to name him as a villain, or villain, right? Because he fell on the villain side of it.
Yeah.
Whereas
Right.
most anti-hero stories, we always pull towards hero.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Well, I think with an anti-hero, you have to have either the end is they kind of succumb to becoming a villain, and that's how they lose.
Right.
Like they've lost societally,
Right.
they've accepted the evil side, or they die. Like society
Right.
turns to be so great that it overpowers the hero, and then the ultimate end is that they die. And you have lots of, like, Deadpool is an
Right,
anti-hero, but he's never gonna die at the end of the movie, really. And
Yeah.
he's never gonna, completely fully go over to the evil side because him balancing that.
But he still does do
dynamic.
fundamentally the good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't think he's purely an anti-hero. He still is. He's an anti-superhero. So he's
Sure.
My definition of an anti-hero is someone who the audience roots for, but society is
Society.
against him, or whatever authority figures in the movie, right? So it's doing that twist. And we were talking about, is there an anti-villain? Which is the opposite, where the audience hates you, but society loves you. Right? You're like
Right.
the principal in the teen drama, right? In the upright.
Yeah.
Like in School for Rock, the principal in School for Rock, for
Right.
example, is an anti-villain.
Yeah, I think of like
Well, Spike from Buffy.
yeah.
Isn't he anti-villain? Because he's a villain, but the audience loves him?
He moves over to becoming a hero. There's a lot of like Venom from Spider-Man fame.
sure.
He moves over from being a full villain to an anti-hero. I think it's just how much the audience loves them, and you can't
Right.
keep recycling a villain story over and over again. So you have to move him over to a protagonist side, and therefore you just kind of have to make him an anti-hero.
Steve Jobs was
In real life.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah,
real life
right.
anti-heroes.
He turned into a villain.
Yeah.
He was a hero who turned into a villain,
I
really.
don't know, but was it because of his actions and his motivation that he became a villain, or was he just succumbing to societal standards and pressure?
Depends
was it
if you're a
money
Woz fan or not.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a Woz fan, so I think, he's the evil.
Comes in there and
right?
smashes the keyboard.
Right.
Like, we're working on
They
this
were
project
unity
now.
at first, and they split into the good. It's like the Star Trek with the white on black guy and the black on white guy, and
Right,
they fight
yeah,
until
yeah.
the antimatter explodes or whatever it was.
Hella geeky, super representing.
I got to
here.
say that Walter White gives foreshadows pretty early on with "I am the one who knocks."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That, that was pure evil.
That's such
Yeah.
a great speech.
Oh, yeah. There was definitely
Right.
some.
Well, it's pure power.
power works.
is what it is. Like they're doubting, she's doubting him, and he's like, "You don't get it."
Right.
Well, don't they kind of tell really early on in the series with the flashback that he's gonna turn dark? So it's almost like you can accept the journey. It's like in American Beauty.
Yeah.
The movie starts off where the hero's been shot in the head and he's got his head down in a pool of blood. And then now as you watch the rest of the movie, you're like, well, I can accept a lot of his really obvious moral foibles because I know he's going to get punished at the end.
Right.
He's going to get punished greater than he probably deserves.
Sure.
So it's like, when he's hitting on a high school teenager, you're like, that's gross. I would beat that guy up if he was walking around my neighborhood, but I'll watch him for an hour and a half because he's so interesting. And I know he's going to get killed at the end.
Are you talking about Kevin Spacey?
Yeah. Kevin Spacey. All right, I think that's probably good for the chat section. We probably went over a little bit of time, longer than we wanted to, honestly, but that's all right. We'll get it tightened up. For our game section, we're going to do a pitch superheroes. Not just heroes, but actually the superhero genre is going to keep going, so we need some new and inventive characters in there.
Okay, so I think a great superhero would be Chant Man.
Chance Man?
Chant Man.
Okay.
He follows me around and he gets everybody to worship me and chant my name. And he does that by opening everybody's heart chakra. It's a fact that the more open you are, the more loving you are, the more you love me. And so everyone, yeah.
Are we saying this would be directional and focused at you, not just loving everybody?
So
it could just be a big orgy,
Well, it's within...
Orgy man.
Orgy man!
Come on.
I don't know. That's going to sell some tickets.
It's got to be orgy woman. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
We need some balance here.
So the hero is not you. The hero is someone who comes with you?
Yeah. So
are they a manifestation that you've created, or does some other human just have that ability?
Another human has that ability.
And why do they choose you specifically?
Excuse me?
Oh, okay. That was a great answer. I just mean literarily. I'm not saying I'm making a value judgment. I'm just saying, when did they come across you so they would know that they would definitely choose you?
What is the origin story of Chant Man?
Yeah, what's the origin story of Chant Man?
Why is he drawn to you?
Well, when I was born under a special cluster of stars. So these stars were actually a smiley face. They smiled down upon me, and then everybody started smiling down upon me.
So is this part of the story, or is this real world here?
Yes.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, and so he will follow me around. I think he should start 1 year from now.
Okay.
And it's not everybody has to worship me. It's just everybody within a 1 mile radius. We don't have to get crazy here.
Standard, not metric measurements.
You opted for villain.
What?
You opted for villain.
No, hero.
So are you doing the moral decisions there, or is it up to actual Chant Man to?
Well, so my presence brings up everybody's morale.
Right.
And Chant Man, because, so Chant Man gets everybody to worship me, bow down, and that increases everyone's morals because nobody is committing crimes. All the criminals are stopping too and bowing down to me.
So it brainwashes them, and now you're all just a bunch of Chelsea zombies.
Right. But for good.
Villain.
But outside of 1 mile radius.
Yeah,
Are you accruing villains are lurking around the 1 mile because they're just afraid of your general power?
Well, everybody should be afraid of my general power.
Oh yeah, sure. Is this in the story, or is this real life?
Real life.
Right. Okay. It's important to clarify.
Yeah.
So okay, cool. So Alex Avery, a friend of the show, is going to try to be doing some drawings of these characters. So what does Chant Man look like? So Alec has something to latch onto visually.
He's hot.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, washboard abs, symmetrical muscles, he doesn't jerk off with one arm all the time.
Right, switches it up.
Yeah.
Maybe two at once, because you know why. Wink. My kids are in the audience. They have the internet. It happens. It's fine. I'm just thankful they're not rummaging into the desert for this stuff like I did when I was a kid. Okay, go on.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Back to you and your fantasy.
That's right. He is 1 inch shorter than me because it makes me feel good to have people shorter than me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how tall are you?
5'0".
Do you want to reveal that? All right.
So he's 4'11".
So that technically makes him a little person, I think.
Nah.
No?
Nah, not Chance Man.
Not Chant Man. He's powerful in his own heart.
He's very proportional.
Right. Oh, okay. Right. Any other superhero?
I had one
Yeah.
called, well, originally I was going to call the person Urbano, but I think it needs to be gender non-specific, so
Okay.
Urbanx.
Urbanx?
Right, like Latinx, right,
Sure,
at that
sure.
point, Latinx.
If you read that differently, is it just Urban X?
Yeah, but it's not Urbanx. Because that would
Okay.
kind of, that's too much like Spanx. But basically, this is like a superhero who grew up as a street urchin in the big city,
Right.
which is, Gotham or whatever, and just has mastered the art of city living. So, like, if he's got a car, he can find a meter with time on the meter.
Already there, right?
Yeah, and you go to, if you want to go to Salt and Straw, there's just magically no line. When you show up, he's not cutting, he just has timing down. So he just like slips through the crowd and there's nobody there, and you just go, Pizza Shoals, you just sit down, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Somebody
that's it.
Somebody just happened to order food but didn't show up to pick it up with his
Right.
name.
Does anybody want this steak?
It's just sitting around.
Yeah, sure.
Hands it
And then he
out,
tips
right?
very generously, and
Right,
he's
right.
always got cool glasses, and just like, it's like that.
Nice.
Wow.
Urban X.
Always get the best Groupons.
Yeah, right.
Right, he never buys his glasses. He just like shows up to Lost and Found and is like, "You got any? I don't know, Ray-Bans?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "There you go, man." And he's just like,
Fitting
"Boom."
ones. Yeah, thrift
Right.
shopping. He's like, there's always something awesome.
He
there.
puts on a jacket that's like labeled
Yeah.
like, and then pulls the 20 out of the pocket that pays for
and
it.
if he needs a sidekick, he actually finds a homeless guy, and instead of giving him money, he actually turns his life around and
Right.
gets him on the program, and then the guy helps him for a while, but then moves on to better things.
So it's like a Doctor Who sidekick. He like pulls them up from obscurity,
Yeah, yeah.
raises them up to like
Right.
achievement, and then they move on to something
he
else.
improves the city as he goes along.
Nice. And so is this based on you? Does he look like you?
No, it's like all good superheroes. It's the opposite of me. It's all the
okay.
things that never happened to me. That it's my wish fulfillment.
Okay, cool.
So is his catchphrase just like, "Sir, I want some more"?
Please, sir.
He's generous and
He's Oliver Twist, but like he nailed it.
It'd be more like he's helping bumpkins who are just about to get mugged, and he, disarms the thugs or something, and it's like, welcome to Portland. Would be
Yeah.
or welcome to Gotham.
So it sounds like you're getting like 3 or 4 of Oliver Twist characters in there. You got Fagin, who's got the organizational skills. You got the actual thieving and accomplishment skills of the Artful Dodger, and then you have the charm of Oliver himself. So so he's like the ultimate, like 3-headed urchin of all skills.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Does he play guitar like amazingly well?
I don't know about that part, but I know he gets invited to all the cool house parties where the best bands are, for just like $5 a keg money, and then
You just give him like a handful of baubles, and he can make like a necklace out of it or something, and sell it on like a blanket.
Yeah. Or then he shows like a junkie how to do that, and then they go straight.
Right. All right. That's cool. I like it.
And then they're his
your character has a whole arc.
Episode.
That's nice. Yeah.
All right.
So you got it
I've
now?
got one. I've got one. This one's kind of serious. He's called Random Man.
Random Man.
Random Man, because I have a theory that any hero that can make a choice cannot be completely altruistic. So Random Man does not get to decide what assignments he goes on, and
that's cool.
Through some mechanism.
Ancient wizard.
Yeah,
cursed/blessed him.
that's it. That was the one.
The mystical roulette wheel of
Right. The hand of fate.
Yeah.
The wheel of.
And he has to go. So he could be Random Man or No Free Will Man.
Yeah.
So whichever one you choose.
Right.
I did some research for the show, and I went back and watched the '78 Superman movie. And when he goes back and saves Lois Lane, he goes back in time.
Right.
When Lois Lane died, he was saving a town full of people.
Right.
When he goes back in time, he never goes back and saves those people.
He just killed all those people.
He decided to kill those people.
For his own for his own personal benefit.
Well, just so he could get some.
So Superman is not the hero you guys think he is.
Oh yeah. Superman has been like pushed and pulled into some really weird like non-character. Like he was originally just a man from a different planet that had really strong gravity and had really weak nutrition in the soil and stuff like that. So he comes over here to this world, gets all this like really strong nutrients, is able to have a weak gravity. So he was able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. He wasn't able to fly. One lazy writer was like, he's in the sky, we'll just have him fly. And then things just went crazy to where you have like, what is it, Superman 2, where he like pulls the emblem off of his chest and throws it like a plastic shield and wraps somebody up, and it was just like, what are you doing? He's just a dude who's strong and fast. It messed it all up. Yeah, the original Superman comics was almost him like reveling in how powerful he was. He was like beating up on bullies and like flexing for all the ladies, like total like jock guy who he probably would be, honestly.
Right.
It'd be kind of hard not to be that if you could like knock over a building with one push to not be like, check this out. Yeah.
I don't know if you'd ever flex it, you'd be like, I didn't even try.
They should call him Rando.
Rando, that's what I was thinking. Rando.
Okay.
That's a good Rando.
Gendered again.
Right, yeah.
But Randex.
So what is it? So is it based on you, or what is it? So Alex has something to draw. What does Rando look like? Or does Rando change? Is it like Sam, where he like every adventure he looks different?
I think he has like a Wheel of Fortune wheel right in the middle, and then when trouble strikes, it spins.
Like right in his forehead, you could tell. Like every time he achieves the previous goal, the wheel starts spinning again, and he's back into it.
Yes, he just has to stop and wait for the wheel to spin wherever he is.
And does he get teleported? Does he move around to different time frames?
No,
and stuff?
he has a complete power, ultimate power. He's more powerful than Superman.
Oh, okay.
And Hulk. Yeah.
So the real crux of the story is these moralistic choices that he has to make, but he doesn't know which route is the way to go, which is right.
Now that I think about it, it's kind of boring. Like,
what if his powers varied too? Like he could be totally weak. He could like have no bones.
Right. Or he could still have incredible power, but get put into the body of somebody who's like, it was almost impossible to achieve that.
Baby.
Kind of like a quantum leap.
Yeah, I was thinking it feels kind of like a little bit of a quantum leap quality to it, because it is kind of like random, So maybe it's like there's even like
random. Everything's
random. Yeah. So like who he is, what his motivations are. What if sometimes he's like popped into it and he's like has to choose between two evil choices, Like do you murder this person or do you murder that person,
Right.
And it's just like
Can he ever just reset?
And then he's
just like, I don't want this decision.
Reboot.
Next thing.
Yeah, you could have it be that if he forces a reset, it causes like negative
Well, if he
effects,
dies,
like ripples.
right?
or
Okay, so
whatever.
he'd have to work up to being able to have the ability to do a reset. I mean, the whole
Right.
idea is that he can't make a choice.
Right.
So
okay.
kind of like Spawn, Spawn has like that clock that he like if he does what the devil wants him to, it rebuilds up his power. But if he fights against evil, he can be a better person, but it reduces his power level. So sometimes he has to do what the devil wants him to do, so he can raise his power level, so he can go and do the hero thing. So it's like he's got this weird balance. So
That's a really good conflict.
Spawn is like a fantastic anti-hero story, and like he just hit when they first rolled out with his movie at the wrong generational era. They had him like they couldn't have murder and and he couldn't show blood in the movie Spawn, where it was like it's like
He saw something's head off, and they found a way. Because it was green ooze. So
yeah. You can't show actual blood, or like she gets stabbed, and you can like her shirt protects the sword from being seen.
No.
It's cheesy. So is that everybody's hero? No, Daniel. What is your hero?
Yeah. His is it'd be Root Cause Man. Yeah.
This is really cool. This is like a super team that we're collaborating because they all have kind of like.
Yeah. No, he's a bummer, but like it lasts like one issue because they'd realize that it's just like he has all the answer because it's all just like. Wealth inequality. Like most things are just wealth inequality. That's the problem. And it's just like they can come to him, but it's like he has all of the answer, but nobody wants to hear it. So he probably looks like very like burdened, but smug.
That kind of reminds me a little bit of the episode of Friends where Phoebe starts dating this guy who's just this incredibly smart psychologist. And he just like he talks with people for like 2 minutes, and he's like, "Oh, well, that's probably because you haven't gotten over your latent issues with your father." And they're just like, "Oh, I don't like this guy." He knows, So like, he would actually have the answer where he'd be like, global warming. You can fix it real easy. You just have to, destroy the world economy.
It's just exactly his thing. No,
That sounds like the
But can we
fruit
just
of the
fix it
tree
now?
of
Just ruin
knowledge
this? Yeah.
ruining everything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is he just like incredibly rich then? Like he can just like write a check?
Oh no, nobody's gonna like him. Like, I don't want to get any money ever. Like I feel like they would try and pay him off to give a different answer because
Right. Yeah.
No,
Oh, that's
no,
a
I
good
think
point. Can he lie? If you give him enough money, will he lie when asked a question?
Or is he just like honor
I don't
bound
think
and
so. Well,
power forced to
So
have?
you know
it?
what? We have to
Got
sell more than one issue. Yes,
Right,
he
yeah.
can lie.
So,
But
wait
but
a minute.
if
Is this
he
a villain
lies,
you're creating
he's
here?
part. No. He's part tree. So visually,
Right.
he's part tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
And if he lies, he grows another branch.
Oh, see, now we're spitballing. This is a real
Yeah.
character here.
Yeah. Wow.
So when we meet him, is he fully human or does he have like bark for skin or something?
I like that. Yes.
Yeah, bark for skin. That's what then you're kind of like figuring out why he's so.
It can fluctuate. So Alex, feel free to do like pieces that are tree-like, and then yeah.
So what is he doing in the meantime? If he has the answer, if the answer is wealth
I
inequality.
mean, probably just trying to find an audience after.
Just getting
Yeah,
somebody
because
to
I feel like
listen.
people don't necessarily want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you have so he has all the answers.
Right.
Yeah.
He's achieved that. His goal
Yeah.
is to try to find the audience who will listen.
Sounds like an Old Testament prophet.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Kind of.
have a question. Does he know why his wife left him?
Yes.
That's deep.
But when he thinks
Was
about
it also wood
he
related?
grows little sprouts because he doesn't want to face
think
that
about it.
truth. So,
But isn't the
yeah.
answer always wealth inequality?
Well, it might actually be the reason too. Yeah.
She left him because he was making that
99
money.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he had a great job until he told his boss what the real problem was.
Right.
He got his ass fired.
Yeah.
And she yelled at him for that.
Right. And then he told her that the problem was really a problem she had with her father.
Right.
So she didn't want to do that.
Which is wealth inequality.
Yeah.
Between that, we have to find out by
Why is he
like.
not doing anything?
Why is he not doing anything?
He's just waiting for people to go.
He's available. I think he's just call now. Like he's there.
So here's the ultimate question here before we wrap up the game section. Is this free range? Writers who are watching this at home, or can is there going to be rando comics with just like a note, thanks, Isaac Pendergrass, or do you own this? Can people get out there and do this?
If they say thanks, Isaac, that.
Yeah. So I'm thinking anybody have an objection to that?
No.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to follow me and get people to worship me, that's
Right.
fine.
Yeah. No, that's a solid plan. I like that. That's
Yeah.
good. All right. We haven't really worked out how the story's going to end, but how it ends is exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's
Our gift to the world.
our gift to the world. So that's our gift to you, the internet. If you want to, or public access, it's probably better on the internet because then you can review and if you're going to turn a story into it. So that's our gift to you. Thank you for watching. All right, that was the game. All right, well, thanks for coming out. Big round of applause for all the panelists that we had here this evening. We've been talking about heroes. With one of our panelists here, my good friend Daniel Daggeris. Big round of applause for Daniel. Oh, handshake. Handshake. You don't applaud for yourself. That's silly. Where can we see you, Daniel? Where can you?
I'm going to be at the Mutiny Comedy Festival in San Francisco from the 1st to the 5th.
Nice.
And then sometime in May or June, I will be at a sex club doing a comedy set. So,
Too late here.
yeah, thanks.
So, Chelsea Burns, thank you. Big round of applause for Chelsea. Where can we see you, Chelsea?
I'll be at the Hilarious Comedy Festival in Seattle, Washington.
Oh, awesome. Very good. And big round of applause for that. Mark Sulfite, sir, thank you for doing the show. Very funny man, as always.
I am going to be at the Moose Lodge in Morton, Washington on March 3rd, and you will too.
Yeah, you should check it out. Check out Mark Sulfite's full set down there at the Moose Lodge. Big round of applause for Mark. Isaac, thank you very much for doing the show again. Where can we see Isaac?
You can catch me at the Mutiny Radio Comedy Festival,
Yeah.
March 1st through 5th in San Francisco, and you can actually catch it online.
Oh, yeah. So if you like this show, I'll put down in the description a link to their show as well. So you guys can just go from one to the other. All right, you guys have been a wonderful audience. Thank you very much. Our next episode, the topic is going to be anime and Japanese culture. We're going to go skirt on down to the MiyakuCon in Salem. So that's going to be fun. We're doing that tomorrow, actually. So hooray! Check that out. Please come again. Tell your friends. Big round of applause for all our tech help, the guys in the booth. Big round of applause for Glenn Dyer, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Big round of applause for him. Big round of applause for Frank Martin. All right, you guys have been a wonderful audience. Please check us out again. Good night.